And hello. Good morning, afternoon, evening. It's 22:19 here in Southeast Asia. It is 8:19 Central Standard Time. The market's about ready to open here in 10 minutes, 9 minutes or so, and sorry, 11 minutes. And we'll watch the open. If there's any compelling action, perhaps take a trade. But bear in mind that this is the middle of the holiday season. Undoubtedly going to be extremely light volume and liquidity, which makes for dangerous trading. The book is fairly fleshed out, though. This 10 seems to keep hanging out there at 85. So we'll see what we see in the next few minutes, and then this will be a short stream. I'd like to take this opportunity to wish anybody passing by here welcome. If you'd like to know when this stream goes live, I go live around Asia close, London open, and again, regular trading hours open. Try to do that every day of the week. Obviously, this is the New Year's Eve week, so this will probably be the last day we trade. But the idea was to get this stream up and running, and the bugs worked out so that I would have it as a virtual trade journal and free resource for people who are trying to learn to trade and establish a consistent profitability and all things that go well with that. And see where we are. You can see that the earlier stream I was talking about how we generally touch VWAP sometime between for last hour and a half, 2 hours before the open, and they got that a little bit ahead of schedule here, but it did exactly as I've witnessed and mentioned. Pretty much a daily occurrence. I wouldn't say that it's a guaranteed edge. Nothing is, but that's something to watch out for if you're up at that time, if you're in the Western Hemisphere. If you're in Europe or Asia, of course, it's an easy thing to do. And now they're just chopping it, trading it back and forth in anticipation of the open. Could go a lot of different ways here. The daily chart is just a moonshot. There's no one pullback here. Another strong march up, single time framing. This wick took out first 5 or 6 periods there. A lot of stops. And here we go. We're just one tick shy of the 12.9. So I'd be dumbfounded if we didn't hit that today. And as usual, the overnight or Globex session has put in a bunch of highs and volume, and the real-time regular trading hours, folks. For some reason, I keep wanting to call that real-time. The regular trading hours, people, that's the cash Chicago Open. They don't usually like to have that happen, and they will take out the record high. And there's a statistic out there that's about 97% of the time, either the high or the low of Globex is taken out by regular trading hours. So it's not a tradable edge necessarily, but it's something to keep in the back of your mind. We're trading at present 15 ticks off the all-time record high and the Globex high. So, as I said yesterday, I would be very surprised if that wasn't taken out. And if we come back here, you can see the Globex high and the all-time high, and guess what happened? Ooh, 20 points. Right back down to the Globex high for settlement and close, and then here we go again. Globex runs it up. Regular trading hours folks will come in, and I would be amazed if they don't trade it up past the open. Now, I suppose it's necessary that I should start putting this disclaimer thing on. Obviously, this is my trading journal and my trading. I'm trying to talk and think out loud to be helpful. And nothing I say is trade advice or suggestions to trade. Trading equities, futures, derivatives can be extremely dangerous and volatile. You can lose more money than you invest. It's not for everybody. Past results don't make anything indication of future results. I'll have to get that disclaimer thing figured out so that I can spit it out quickly. And be careful that you don't try to follow my trades because, A, I may not be consistently profitable, which would be disappointing for you. But more important, there is a built-in delay on the YouTube stream. So when I've taken a trade, I could be in and out of a trade by the time you hear about it, and you would then take it at the wrong time. So bear that in mind. Don't try to follow my trades. I guess the thing to do would be use them for, use what I say and what I do. Try to help you learn where I pick spots, whether I do things right, whether I do things wrong. What I do wrong could be a positive learning experience for you, figuring out what not to do, right? So that's the end of that. Got 4 minutes to the open. Take a look at where we are here. Got a gap up about 40 points. Highly unlikely. Well, I don't know. That gap could close. Spooky what they're going to try to do. Right now, it's historically the case that most traders are on holiday. There's just a few people, skeleton crew, manning the desks. When there's low liquidity like that and low volume, very easy for big money or strong hands to push the market around. Head fakes, all that kind of thing, stop runs, head fakes, et cetera, et cetera. So it's not the most advantageous time to trade. And to be honest, that's why I picked this period to try to set up this stream, build the new computer, et cetera, so that I could have everything in place for the beginning of the new year. And that's the goal. I will watch the open here for a few minutes, see what happens. Hope it would be nice to pick off a small trade. But something to be said for your psychological capital. And there's nothing worse than going into a weekend, or even worse, a long weekend holiday scenario underwater, So if you're going to trade today or this next day or two, be real careful. It's pretty debilitating to sit and stew about a big loss over a long period of time, weekend or holiday. And I don't want to do that. So I'll try to heed my own warning. And pretty obvious what they're doing here. Trade it down, trade it up, trade it down, trade it up, trade it down, trade it up, Trading range, absolutely. Consolidation, trading range, whatever you want to call it. It's a little bit less pronounced on the range chart. But that movement to VWAP and up was the trade for Globex. Well, the trade for Globex obviously was to just open the door, open your computer and go long. It's never come back since that moment, and you would have picked out about 50 points and we're open. And we're off like a moonshot. Wow. Well, that's irritating. I had an emergency call there from Houston that I had to take right at the open, and I missed that down move to VWAP, which would have been one of my definite trade points. And now we're traded up across to the new all-time high, took out the Globex high. So there we go with that prophecy coming true. That 97% statistic stays intact. Now it's dangerous. They've traded it across the value range, put in their new high, taken out the Globex high. What are they going to do now? They could just keep it here inside of value and trade it the rest out the rest of the day. You definitely don't want to trade from the middle out in situations like this. I don't, anyway. And we'll see what we see here. Consolidation range, bringing value down a little bit. Not making any indication they want to try to close that gap. POC just dropped. That's point of control. I think that phone call took me out of my trade. I generally like to get that first couple of trades out of the way early in the morning, and that would have, at the open, I would have taken this trail up. I hope. That would have been certainly a trade that I should be looking for and one of my setups. So I hope I would have taken that, but I'm not, no hindsight there. No rear view binoculars. Darn, disappointing. Well, that was an important phone call, however, so I'm glad that got out of the way. And they're just going to trade it between these volume nodes. Pretty big swing over here, huh? Yes, it's trying to drop, but that's not having the same effect on the NASDAQ. Buyers are coming in here. Got some size sitting up there. I'm going to take my own advice and be patient, not force any trade. Be very conscious of the fact that it is a holiday, mid-week holiday week, New Year's Eve week, end of the year week. About every kind of a reason not to trade that there is. And that phone call interrupted my rhythm there. So I will take my own advice, and I'm going to stop the stream short here with no trading. Have a look at the Globex Asia close tomorrow, and then we'll be down for the rest of the week until the first of next week, which I think is the 4th of 21. Now it's very questionable. They could try for 13 today. Looks like they might want to do that. They're going to definitely push 12,920. That's on the cards, I would guess. I'm not going to try any 5-point scalps here. Relative volume is quite low. Like they're rolling it over. Could well trade this back across value, but value is only, what, 20 ticks less. 18 points, that's pretty narrow value area for the NASDAQ. And we're 74 points, 71 points off the close at about 56%. Green. Not even the slightest inkling that they want to try to close that gap. And I'm going to let that be the, they are going to bring it across value. All right, trade safe, trade well. Have a fantastic, safe New Year's holiday. Be smart, wear a mask, wash your hands, don't party with a million people. Here in Asia, they have contained it, and we have a almost normal life, except for people wearing a mask. So it definitely does work, and I heartily recommend it. The alternative is a box, and that's not a very good alternative. So Trade safe. I would say this is a trading range. The trade of the day was the VWAP bounce off the open, which I missed, and now we're just in a trading range back and forth across a very, very narrow 17, 18 point value area. It just scooted up and narrowed. So they may be looking at another high here. The 5-minute is definitely moving higher. That wick test was a pretty good one. So, wow, look at the 990 or 1,000 skew to the upside there on cumulative delta. This is essentially a cumulative delta. This is hitting the lifting the offer and hitting the bid. You can see how many have been crossing up. Same thing. That's essentially what cumulative delta shows you. And I just don't feel comfortable here now making a trade. I'm going to sit on my hands, and I think I'm going to go to bed early for a change. It's 22:47 here. Been a pretty long day. Unfortunately, that call came in exactly as the market opened. And I just had to focus on that and couldn't focus on my trade setups. But was definitely a necessary call, and I'm glad I got it. Timing sucks, but other than that, it was great. You can see the difference here now. This is VWAP as calculated from the open, and this is the point of control. Okay, this VWAP is the historical from beginning of Globex, and I tend to think that this one is. Oh, look at point of control jumped again. Yeah, they're going to trade this. Now, if you're patient and you get your timing right, figure that they're going to cross from the value area high to the value area low. They've done that, 1, 2, 3, looking like on the way to 4 times. But be cognizant of the fact that they could break it out at any time. Keep your stops tight. From my point of view, my general bias here is obviously up, right? So I would think it's safer to go long off the value area low. But this movement of the POC and value area going higher also kind of fits into that pattern. Oh, I forgot to switch over to our TPO chart here today. Sorry about that. And here we have our TPO. This is Globex. This is our current trading. You can see how we're just one time framing higher and more than one. We're one time framing higher on a daily, meaning that each one of these days is moving higher and not retracing or taking out the low of the previous day. And we're got a pretty positive trading range within the day. This is yesterday's real time, regular trading hours. Basically a P shape, which is indicative of short covering. A little bit hard to believe, but how could they be short when they're at all-time highs? But that's what that's the theory of market profile. And here we are again today. Now we haven't tested back into volume or to the market profile value area, which is this green area. This is half back, and then the blue and light gray are the volume profiles for the regular trading hours, which is the mirror of this. A little confusing, but I used to trade market profile more than not. Like here we go, you see. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom, ready, and here we go up again. Now, your entry is a little tough if it didn't quite get down there. If I would normally be a tick, say, off value area low with my entry, just front run it a little bit. They just touched it here. Maybe you got filled, maybe you didn't. And they didn't touch it here. Of course, these wicks are peekaboos or head fakes. Have these people think it's going up, right? When it breaks through that, so the breakout guys say, "Ooh, hey," broke out value area high, and look what happened. Now we'll see what happened again. So we're 22 minutes into the trading day. No trades taken. Remember that flat is a position. I'm currently in a position. I'm flat. Well, they're consolidating for some move. Notice how this swings are getting more narrow, more narrow, more narrow, more narrow, more narrow, building energy. Now you could have led by a tick, quite possibly though, judging from the move on the ES here, this is going to break at least down to the VWAP, I would say, looking pretty heavy. They need to get through the market profile POC, and they're right at half back, so you don't know what'll happen here. Generally, with the ES falling out of bed like that, we generally get some follow through. From the NASDAQ. I'd be kind of surprised if it doesn't. I mean, that thing is ripping. Ripping face to the bottom. Oh. Yeah, there we go. Expected bounce at the VWAP there. If it, in fact, happens. There we go. Just 5 minute back here to the. Want to see if this VWAP recalculates at the same spot. This is kind of an annoying feature here. So you see the VWAP recalculated here? No, It did not. It's holding its own, and they've fallen through, trailing the ES here. Now we're headed down. Who knows where? Maybe they're going to close that gap. Here's the open, so they've got about 30 points to 40 points to the gap. Well, there was a short. Absolutely. I wonder what happened, if there's some news on that. That's pretty dramatic on the ES. That is one squeeze if I ever saw one. Bounce here at volume at this consolidation area. And they're rejecting getting awful close to the value area here. They get into value, they could generally would trade across it. That's there we go. Value area high, testing right there. Man, look at this thing. Oof. That is just hammering. And we're just into value. We'll see what happens, if they can hold in value or get rejected out. There's another statistic which is kind of interesting, that only 23% of the time do both the overnight high and overnight low get taken out by the regular trading hours. So that is a tradable edge. You see, you could have had a long down here. There we go, off of volume, value area high. See what's going to happen here. So they close the gap, and they're sitting here on value area high. We're going to change profile periods here in 2 minutes. I think they're going to take a run back down at it. The first test is the best, someone said. Trying to hit this value area high again for another bounce is a little dicey, in my opinion. The first one was the one for sure. First test is best. And the second one here, okay, you took a little heat, 2 or 3 ticks. But now, I don't think so. In fact, I'm going to close the stream so I don't make some stupid mistake here that we've spun into B period. So we've opened B period at the lower quadrant of the profile. We'll see just what happens. Right now we've got a poor low, only 1 tick, 1 number of excess, which is really nothing. See that there's one A below this B's. That's a poor profile, poor low, weak low actually. Per Here we go. Yep. Consolidating down here for a move one way or the other, and I'm not going to try to figure out which one of those ways they're going to go. Profile or the cumulative delta definitely sold off hard. And now they're just flat. What they're waiting for, I don't know. Here we go with some more low. So they're back into value and trading. Quite possibly then we'll trade across, and they've taken out both value where the overnight high and low. So that is a rare occurrence. There's the overnight low, there's the overnight high. They've taken them both. Not by much, but they did, and we're right down to settle. Settlement is 88.32. Not quite, almost a settlement. Settlement's right here at the previous POC for the regular trading hours. They're spanking some Globex people who were long. They're getting spanked good. I just don't see any comfortable move here. If they get into this low value area or volume area here, they ought to take it across, but it's kind of dicey and they're hanging right on the POC, so. They wanted to get everybody long and betting on that breakout, and then they just spanked them. Look at that mess. Building some volume down low. What's going to happen here pretty quick is the value area low is going to drop down, so we're going to be value area overlapping. It's going to be value will be higher to overlapping, and then the POC will flip again. They're going to pull this value area down here into this area. It will then be almost overlapping. Here's the value area from the previous regular trading hour, and they got almost down to settle. They got to 39 and settlement's 32. So here's our settlement from the last regular trading hour. Here comes that value area down. See that? Pretty soon the POC will slip down there. Got 721 contracts trading on the POC there. And we're currently way in the heck down here with 590. So they pull another 200, they can take it across. They can pull that POC down also and bring value area even lower till overlapping. I'm going to call it a night. I don't want to participate in this. Unfortunately, I think there's money to be made here, but I'm tired and I've got some things I've got to take care of relating to the phone call from earlier. So have a fantastic New Year's. I will be around tomorrow. That should probably be the last day of the live stream until first of the year. Trade safe, trade smart, get yourself a pile of money and hold on to it. Don't give it back. Very dangerous to get. You can not only lose your physical capital, but you can lose your psychological capital. And always remember that the market can stay irrational much longer than you can stay solvent. So it may be doing exactly what you think is wrong for it to do, but it does what it wants, and it can certainly do it longer than you can stay solvent. So that's a fact. I just don't see. They're just going to trade this. It looks to me like they're just having a heyday, spanking people and making money. And I don't choose to be one of those people.